Hi everybody, it's Carlin here at May Blossom Design, and today I decided that I want to do kind of like a little series on glazing. I have lots of really beautiful combos, or at least I think they're really beautiful combos. So I want to share with you my whole process, and today I'm going to start. Hopefully I'm going to do like maybe one a week. I'll see if I can fill my kiln enough before I commit to once a week, but that's my goal. So we're going to stick with that. But this week, we're going to start with this beautiful tumbler. This glaze is one of my absolute favorite combos. It never fails. It's very reliable. And to me, it looks not as commercial as some commercial glazes can look. I use only commercial glazes. They're all brush-on glazes at the moment. I haven't ventured into dipping or creating my own glaze yet. Maybe one day, but I haven't yet. But anyway, we're going to start with this one, and I'm really excited. So let's get started, and I'll show you how to make this glaze recipe. So the three glazes that I'm going to use today, they're all Amico. The first is Lustrous Jade, then Blue Rutile, and then Honey Flux. So it all starts with Lustrous Jade. So then you use whatever brush you use for glazing. You can do this on whatever vessel that you have. Right now I'm doing these tumblers, but you can use these on mugs or other glasses, or like I just said, whatever you're glazing. I always start with the inside, and we do three coats of Lustrous Jade. I find Lustrous Jade kind of likes it quite thick in order to get that nice green. So don't hold back on the Lustrous Jade. And because I'm not going to go to the bottom of the set, I'm going to do the first coat on the outside as well. And you can take this right to the bottom. It does pool a little bit, so I might be a little cautious of that. But I pretty much always leave raw clay on the bottom of all my pieces. That's just my thing. But that is a personal preference. You can do it however you like. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'll come back and we'll do the second coat. Okay, so this is dry enough for the second coat, so I'm going to go ahead and put the second coat on. And if I haven't already mentioned it, we are going to do 3 full coats of Lustrous Jade. And with glazing, I find that I'm a little bit lighter handed than I probably should be with glazing. But this is what's worked for me. So as soon as I feel my brush start to drag, I do get more glaze, but I don't like goop it on. As you can tell, it's not too thick, but it's thick enough that it gets the effect that I want. Don't forget your rims. Okay, so I'm just going to let that dry, and then we'll come back for the third coat. Okay, so it's dry enough for the third coat, so let's go ahead and put on the third coat. So once this is done, let it dry completely, and then we'll be back and I'll put on the blue rutile. Okay, so our next color is blue rutile, now that our Lustrous Jade is dry enough. Now, Lustrous Jade, I find is quite a stable glaze. So that helps to make this not a runner. Not a runner in my case. I'm not going to say that it'll never run too much. Um, but in my case, I haven't had a problem with running. I do get lots of pooling. So I think if you went really thick with this combo, you may get quite a few drips and you may get a runner. Or if you take it all the way to the bottom of your piece. But let's get the blue rutile on. So you could do one coat, one very thick coat, or you could do two coats. I'm going to do um, two. I'm going to do two coats of blue rutile. And same, I do it on the inside and the outside. Just I prefer it that way, but you could do the inside any color you want if you don't want to do it that way. But yeah, two coats of blue rutile. I do find blue rutile um, sometimes can be a mover or a runner, but only with certain glazes, not with everything. And again, I don't want to say that I'm like frugal with my glaze, but I don't cake it on, but I make sure that everything is quite covered. And so I just take it right to the bottom of the Lustrous Jade. And like right there, if you don't go right to the bottom of your Lustrous Jade, all you're going to have is, because like I said, blue rutile and jade are quite stable glazes. If you don't overlap them, they're not, they'll blend, but you will see the definite line in this combo. So I like to go right to the bottom. Okay, so we've done that coat. So we'll just let this dry and then we'll come back and we'll do the second coat. Okay, so this looks just about dry enough to do the second coat. So let's just do that. I don't know about you, but when I throw my pieces, I always like to keep the um, finger marks on the inside, like your pull marks. I don't know. I know some people leave it smooth, but I really enjoy seeing them and I like seeing what the glaze does on the inside. I think that's why I make all my combos with the glazes the same on the inside, because I find that with those pull marks, sometimes you can really see how um, the different textures will leave different variations of the glazes that you mix together, and I think it looks really cool. But that's just my preference. So yeah, just a second coat. And like I said, you can see that I'm not like globbing on my glaze. I'm just giving a nice smooth application, but I'm making sure that everything is covered quite well. Okay, so there we go. So now I'm going to leave this until it is completely dry, and then we will come back and we will put on the honey flux layer. Okay, so this is the last step. So we're going to do one thick coat of honey flux with extra on the rim. So we'll just, and when I say thick, when I say I don't glob it on with the other colors, I just make this quite a thick coat. Again, not really globbing, but this I'm applying a lot thicker than the other colors. And if you see any other little spots, just sometimes, well, I guess you can almost say this is almost like 2 coats, but just make sure that it's got good coverage before you move on. So then, same with the outside. Just make sure there's really good coverage. And I take this all the way to the very bottom. Now, if you don't take it to the bottom, it really doesn't move all that much because, like I mentioned previously, the Lustrous Jade and the Blue Rutile are quite stable. So if you don't put the honey flux all the way to the bottom, you're not going to get the movement all the way to the bottom. You're only going to get the movement to where the honey flux ends. So I just make sure that I cover all of the bottom. Okay, so then I just go back with, while it's still wet, and just make sure that I have really good coverage. So I guess this is almost like 2 coats, but I'm doing it when it's wet. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is on the rim, I'm just gonna make sure that it's good and thick on the rim. Okay, so once this is dry, we are going to fire it on my kiln. I fire it to between 5.5 and 6. So yeah, I'm gonna throw this in the kiln when it is totally dry, and I'll come back and I'll show you the final result. Okay, so it's been a couple days since I glazed these. I put them through the kiln. My kiln, like I said before, it runs between a 5.5 and a 6 is what it usually gets up to temp. I do have cones in here, so you will see those as well. So you'll see what my cones are when I say about 5.5. You'll get why. But yeah, let's take a look at how our cups turned out. Oh, and don't mind the mess that is constantly in my studio, because that is just my life. It's just avert your eyes from all of that. Okay, great. I did have some stuff on the top, but it's gone. But yeah, so this is my cone 6, and this is my cone 5. So if I put this down here, you can see that it is more than bent, and this is just about bent. So that's why I say it's about 5.5. Yay. Ooh, look at, we got a drip. Okay. So I think, yeah, like this glaze is just so reliable, and it always turns out flawless, and it's shiny and it's beautiful. And I don't know that I mentioned this, but this is Plainsman 340S. And yeah, that's the clay that I use. The majority of the time is what I use. But yeah, so let's pull all of these out. These are all the same. These were all pre-order. Oh, we got some more drips. And another little tip for this glaze is if you wanted it to be a little bit more blue, then you definitely, oh, look at that. You definitely could go 2 coats of Lustrous Jade instead of 3, and maybe a little bit heavier on the Blue Rutile, and you'd probably get a little bit bluer. But yeah, I think this is gorgeous. These turned out so great. And just with the pooling, like I said, it's always such a reliable glaze. I've never had any problems, not so far, but such a reliable glaze. Or a reliable combo, I guess you could say. Perfect. Yeah. I think it's such a nice combo. Okay, so yeah, that is how to do that glaze. If you try it, let me know. If you like it, let me know that too. Always leave it in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think. Because this was my very first glaze along, let me know what you guys think. Did I miss something? Is there more that you want to see? Um, yeah, let me know. Let me know if I did an okay job with showing you how I glaze stuff. I do have other combos that I want to try. But yeah, let me know what you think. So, like always, if you like my videos, please like and subscribe. It means a lot and it helps to push out my channel to everybody that wants to watch this kind of stuff. And yeah, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.